Okay, so we've got this. This is from Fox News. It says Hezbollah human shield strategy behind Lebanon ambush bomb detonation. Macron drawn in. This will be interesting because a lot of the West, but particularly Europe, are very, very wimpy. They're very, very wimpy, and they are afraid of war. They're not willing to engage in war, even when war is justifiable. So I don't know that France is even going to respond to this. I mean, beyond a strongly worded statement, I don't know that France is going to do anything about this, but, I guess only time will tell. But let's read the article here from Fox News. It's from Emma Bussi, I guess, the name of the person who wrote this article. It says, Macron confirmed the death of Sergeant Major Florian Montorio and demanded Lebanese authorities arrest those responsible. Gotta arrest the Hezbollah terrorist. The 10-day Israel-Lebanon ceasefire was tested April 18 after an ambush in southern Lebanon killed a French soldier, highlighting Hezbollah's alleged human shield tactics in drawing another nation into the conflict, a defense analyst said. An IDF reservist was also killed and 9 soldiers were wounded, one seriously, on the same day when an engineering vehicle drove over a bomb planted by Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, the military said. Kobe Michael, a senior researcher at the INSS and the Misgav Institute in Tel Aviv, said the Iranian-backed group spent years preparing the region for Israel's arrival, relying on its entrenched signature terror strategy. Even after the latest ceasefire and the IDF's re-entry into southern Lebanon in March. This is the rationale of human shields, using the population and sensitive civilian facilities in order to store weapons and use places for terror and operational purposes, Michael told Fox News Digital. Hezbollah worked for decades to build an entire facility, part of it underground below private residential buildings and houses, preparing themselves for a surprise attack on Israel, Michael added. They were well prepared to defend themselves once the IDF entered and tried to fight them, he said. France's foreign minister said the soldier was shot in close-range ambush and struck by a direct shot. What do they even do? How is this a human strategy situation? I mean, someone was ambushed. I'm not sure how this is a human shield case. I'm a little confused. So I guess you need to read more details. The minister said the attack happened during a patrol clearing explosives near Gandoria when troops came under small arms fire from non-state actors, a term often used to refer to groups like Hezbollah. They operate in the Shiite villages and among the Shiite population who are supported by Hezbollah, Michael said, before describing how most people in these southern villages are connected to Hezbollah in one way or another and are heavily dependent on the terror organization. So it sounds like they got this French guy was walking around looking for bombs, and some Hezbollah militants were in these Shiite villages and fired upon the French soldier. Now, I don't know if the French soldier refused to respond or retaliate because it's a civilian area or not. All community life and infrastructure in these Shiite villages and towns are an effective cover for terror purposes and Hezbollah activities. Yeah, hold on. I'm reading this, but there are very few details as to what the exact details are of this ambush. It seems like the French guy wandered into a Shiite village and was attacked by Hezbollah terrorists. Does this mean, should the Hezbollah terrorists attacked the French military member? No, I would say not. But I'm struggling to see how human shields were used in this scenario. Let me see. Okay, so we've got this segment here from France 24. This might shed some more light on how this exactly was a human shield situation.
French President Emmanuel Macron.
This is from France 24 English. It's called UNIFIL sheds light on southern Lebanon attack that killed French soldier.
French President Emmanuel Macron has said that a French soldier has been killed in southern Lebanon, adding that evidence suggests Iran-backed armed group Hezbollah was responsible for the attack. The Lebanese Prime Minister and also the country's president have condemned the bloodshed, which targeted members of the French contingent of the UN peacekeeping force in the country. Lebanese authorities ordering an immediate investigation into the incident. Well, for more, we can turn now to Tilak Pokral, Deputy Spokesperson for UNIFIL, the UN's peacekeeping mission in Lebanon. Thank you very much for speaking to us here on France 24 today. Firstly, my condolences. What exactly happened to that French peacekeeping unit that was targeted this Saturday?
Our peacekeepers were out on that routine, conducting a routine activity, in this case, clearing on UXOs, the IEDs that are on the road due to the recent hostilities. So when they were on the road, they were fired upon. They wwere clearing the road to another UN position, which was isolated for several days because of the conflict, and then that's how they came under fire.
And what do we know at this point about who is responsible?
See, it just happened today, this morning, unfortunately. We have said in our statement that we have launched an investigation. So, but our initial thinking and belief is that it's Hezbollah who is behind the attack.
So I'm not seeing any reference to human shields here. I don't know why Fox News included that in their article.
It's a big question here. How do you, UNIFIL, this UN peacekeeping mission in Lebanon, how do you maintain trust between, on one side, the Lebanese population, but also Israeli soldiers and Hezbollah militants, all three of whom you have to work with on a daily basis? How do you maintain trust between those three actors?
We are in constant contact with our partners, in this case, the Lebanese army and the Israeli army also. Well, we deal with the state. We don't deal with non-state actors. So our line of communication is always open. We are always in touch with them for various, reasons. But in all our contacts, we always, restraint to avoid miscalculations and misunderstandings, which would escalate things. So this is how we work on the ground.
And you touched on it just there, but would you please remind our viewers what exactly UNIFIL's mission is in Lebanon right now?
UNIFIL has been supporting the parties in their implementation of what we call Security Council Resolution 1701. Our primary focus is to bring long-lasting peace and stability in South Lebanon, working with the parties. But given the situation here recently, recent hostilities, that is far away, as you know, but we are trying our best.
And this, of course, leads to a key question. Has UNIFIL's mission in Lebanon, has the mission become simply too dangerous to maintain? After all, this isn't the first time that UNIFIL has been targeted, and it's also not the first time the mission's lost troops in recent weeks.
That's a good question.
Yes, unfortunately, we have lost a few troops already, peacekeepers already in the past few weeks. Very unfortunate. And that also explains that we operate under very difficult and challenging circumstances. This is not normal time for us. Now, I know, we all know there is a ceasefire for a certain period, a temporary ceasefire. But again, the cloud of the war and hostility is not away, not gone.
And given the highly dangerous context and this febrile ceasefire, this new nascent ceasefire in Lebanon, is there an argument that UNIFIL should be taking on a more offensive role, that perhaps you've been too defensive and not sufficiently anticipating the risks that you're faced with?
we are bound by the mandate given to us by the Security Council. We don't decide our mandate ourselves. So there are certain, limitations, including on the use of force. So that's all I can say on this. We cannot decide our mandate. We are given the mandate.
Tilak Pokhrel, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. Tilak Pokhrel, Deputy Spokesperson for UNIFIL. Thank you very much for speaking to us here on France 24 today.
Thank you.
Very interesting article. It does not seem like Hezbollah used human shields in this scenario. So I'm very confused about why Fox News included that in their article. I mean, especially in the headline, because, they quoted in the article someone saying that, human shields are often used by Hezbollah, which is true. But in the article, they didn't include any proof that Hezbollah used human shields in this case. So, not great reporting from Fox News, although they do get things wrong from time to time, of which people, especially on the internet, are more than well aware. I just thought it would be interesting to mention. It was right there on the homepage of Fox News. I was like, let me look into this. Wasn't entirely accurate. So I may lie on the right slightly, but it's fair to call these things out when you see that someone's stating something that's not true.